Are you ready to embark on a journey through time and space? Welcome to the Kling Connection. Join us as we explore hidden gems, off-the-beaten-path destinations, and everything in between. From nostalgic road trips to international escapades, we'll share our experiences, tips, and tricks to help you make the most of your adventures. So buckle up, pack your bags, grab your favorite snack, and let's embark on an unforgettable adventure together. Subscribe now for your daily dose of wanderlust. Hi, I'm Shayna, and stay on the Kling Connection. We are in Marietta, Georgia.
Welcome to the Kling Connection.
We're here in Marietta, Georgia, and it's gorgeous and decorated all for Christmas. Check it out. You're going to be walking around all afternoon.
We're in Marietta Square. It looks like they're doing some sort of a Christmas concert. This town has a really small town feel, great southern feel. People from all over the place are here. This place is packed. I don't know if these kids are from a local high school or a college. They look like they're high school kids, but there must be 200 people here.
A few moments later.
We are at Matt's restaurant, Oyster Bar, in Marietta Square, and we just ordered some oysters. We have Prince Edward Island oysters, and we got some Indian River, and we also got some Massachusetts Lovewell. I love oysters, so we're going to try these. I'm going to try the river ones first. So good.
Nice.
Lobster cocktail. I'm not going to be able to take this out of here and eat this. Not very pretty. Give me a second. Hold on. Let me show you how it's done. You can't go wrong with lobster cocktail.
Well, this about wraps up our trip to Marietta, Georgia. Some of the pros is it's very, very beautiful here. The history is great. People are really nice. There's lots of restaurants, lots of little shops to do, especially at Marietta Square. You can even check out the graveyard where little John Benet Ramsey unfortunately passed away and is buried. And the amazing YouTuber, Aaron Marino, he lives right down the street. You might know him from Alpha M or the Alpha M Empire. Anyway, on behalf of Shayna, we want to say we had a great time here in Marietta. Some of the cons you might want to watch out for is the traffic. The traffic is hellacious here, but once you get where you got to go, everything falls into place. For the Kling Connection, this is Sean.
Meet the Inmorven X23 camping fan, the portable 2-in-1 fan and LED light that turns every adventure into a breeze. Whether you're deep in the woods, chilling at the beach, or sitting up under the tent and watching the stars, comfort matters. Stay cool anywhere with powerful, whispering, quiet airflow. The X23 keeps you cool even in the heat of the outdoors. Your next great outdoor moment just got an upgrade. Georgia, the home of the Atlanta Braves, sweet tea, peaches, and Jimmy Carter. Today on the Kling Connection, we're going to explore the top 10 places to visit or things to do while visiting the state of Georgia. Let's start off with Kennesaw Mountain National Battlefield. Kennesaw Mountain National Battlefield, right outside of Marietta and outside of Atlanta, Georgia, was a pivotal battle during the American Civil War. It's a great place to go hiking and explore the history and check out the museum. As well as some great eats in town, Kennesaw Mountain is definitely worth the trip to the Civil War enthusiast, the history lover, or the outdoorsman. Number 2, Marietta, Georgia, right down the road from Kennesaw National Battlefield. Marietta, Georgia has grown over the years to become a cultural center outside of the city of Atlanta. It's very family friendly, and the town center is a drawing point for all sorts of visitors and locals. The restaurants and bars are a great place to have a good time, and this family friendly, safe atmosphere is key to the diversity in this county. Marietta, Georgia has a great Christmas festival and also does multiple things throughout the year. Number 3, Plains, Georgia, the home of the late President Jimmy Carter and his wife Rosalind. Plains, Georgia is a small little town with a big history. Jimmy Carter, the 39th President of the United States and former governor of the state of Georgia, lived and died in Plains, Georgia. His presidential museum is quite a wonder, and you get to visit the house that him and his wife lived in for years and years. If you get a chance to go to Plains, Georgia and check it out, and love presidential history, you will absolutely love this diamond in the rough. The next spot on our list is held by Andersonville National Military Park. At this location was one of the most infamous prisoner of war camps in the American Civil War. Located in rural Georgia, this cemetery hosts not only veterans who died during the American Civil War, but also to the present day. The haunting tale of the things that happened here in the final years of the Civil War can be stirring, to say the least. Check out Andersonville, Georgia, if you are a huge Civil War buff. Next up on the list, Savannah, Georgia. This old era town brings history to life. Whether it's from the American Revolution or the American Civil War or early 20th century history, Savannah, Georgia has it all. Ghost tours, fine restaurants, waterfront properties, and an awesome park and community. If you get a chance to visit Savannah, Georgia, and spend some time there, you'll probably fall in love with it. A number of famous movies were filmed there, including Forrest Gump and Midnight in the Garden of Evil. You can take a ghost tour through town or just meander through the shops. About 17 miles outside of Savannah, Georgia is Fort Pulaski. Fort Pulaski was built prior to the American Civil War. There was a number of battles that were fought there, and the place was occupied by Union troops. We did a video on Fort Pulaski, and it did quite well. You can learn a lot of history of Fort Pulaski, and the rangers are really, really helpful. Bring your bug spray, because you will get attacked by gnats, but the visitor center has a lot of information, and the park itself is in really, really good shape. The World of Coca-Cola. This interactive museum teaches you about the history of Coca-Cola and how it came to be. It was founded by a man named Pemberton and is now a worldwide recognized logo. Coca-Cola is even so expansive that a number of stocks are owned by Warren Buffett. Coca-Cola was founded right in Georgia and is known for one of the best sodas, if not the best, in the entire world. Number 8, Helen, Georgia. Up in the northwest part of the state of Georgia, Helen, Georgia is a nice little mountain town that's basically like Bavarian. It's made to look like Germany. The whole village is lined up like Germany. There's German music, German buildings, German food, and it's like stepping into Europe, but you're in the state of Georgia. It has cool whitewater rafting through the town, and it has a number of places that have music and bus tours. Just get there in time early because parking is really hard to find. But once you're there, you can spend the entire day there, and the place is really kid-friendly. Number 9 is Columbus, Georgia. You can whitewater raft down the Chattahoochee River and go on all sorts of bike trails and walking trails. And it's also home to the National Museum of the Civil War Navy. Columbus, Georgia has really come up over the past few years, and a lot of money has been spent to clean up the town and make it very visitor-friendly. You can go there and grab a great bite to eat, or maybe even have a little pecan pie. Last but not least, Stone Mountain, Georgia. Stone Mountain has been voted one of the most beautiful places in the United States for years. It's a very family-friendly place where families can go hiking, rafting, or camping, or even just have a picnic. The mountain has a number of Confederate generals that are carved in the side of it to honor those who served in the Confederate Army during the American Civil War. Stone Mountain is a national attraction, and if you head there, make sure to go there in the spring or the summertime, because you definitely don't want to be up on top of the mountain in the winter. And there you have it, our top 10 places to visit and things to do in the state of Georgia. Did we miss any? Should we have put any more on the list? Did you know of any places that should have been here? If so, leave it in the comments section below. Make sure to like our channel, subscribe, and click that notification bell so you never miss another Kling Connection episode. You can also follow us on Rumble, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram, and you can go to our website, klingconnection.com, and subscribe to our newsletter for all sorts of travel discounts and travel hacks. Until next time, have fun storming the castle.
Are you ready to embark on a journey through time and space? Welcome to the Kling Connection. Join us as we explore hidden gems, off the beaten path destinations, and everything in between. From nostalgic road trips to international escapades, we'll share our experiences, tips, and tricks to help you make the most of your adventures.
So buckle up,
Pack your bags,
grab your favorite snack, and let's embark on an unforgettable adventure together. Subscribe now for your daily dose of wanderlust.
Last week, we were at Kennedy Space Center, observing all the rockets and really cool scientific stuff. This week, we're heading to the coast of Georgia, to the city of Savannah, a city full of history, great entertainment, and even better food. We'll explore all the historical sites, check out local restaurants, and maybe even see a ghost or two. Now, on to Savannah.
Hey, Kling Connection! We are waking up in sunny and exciting Savannah, Georgia. Good morning. So we're here in Savannah, Georgia, and because the city is so big and there's so much to see and do, we thought on our first day we'd do a trolley, and we're just going to lay the land. And our first stop here at the Basilica of St. John the Baptist, we're going to go inside. It's free to see, and we're going to go in and check it out. So this is our first stop, and we're going to go see what we can see, and there's a lot more to do after this, so we're going to go in. So as we've been on the trolley, you know, they give you the little map with the trusty stops that you can get off. And in between each stop, you kind of go around these little squares, and each square has a name after a famous person or a famous thing. And the squares have little benches and areas you can sit and walk around and take your dog and stuff. So such a beautiful morning. And I think after a couple more stops, we might take a break and just kind of show you some of the little parks. And we'll walk around and give you a sense and feel of like the town and the city and how you could see yourself here visiting or maybe even staying. I'm thinking I'd like to stay. But, you know, it's our first day, so we're just getting a lay of the land, and it's been wonderful so far. So, yeah, cool place. Come see it.
The iconic Southern Comfort liquor was invented in Savannah in 1874. While production has since moved elsewhere, the city retains a connection to this beloved Southern spirit. I'm not a big drinker, but I know a lot of people that love a swig of Southern Comfort.
We just made our way to stop number 9, which is City Market. And we're going to walk around here. It looks like there's some shopping and some little cafes. And we're just going to make our way down the street. We have to look for a magnet because we get a magnet everywhere we go. Put on our refrigerator. So it's a beautiful morning. Maybe we'll stop for a cup of coffee and check out this little area here called City Market. If you have a sweet tooth and you need some candy or to get your sugar up, come here because there are sweets galore and they are delicious. I just got a little sample of the pecan praline. Yum. I think I'm gonna have to get some. And the trolley guy gave us a coupon. Even better. I think there's a good reason that Georgia is known for its pecans or pecans.
We just stopped for a bite to eat, and we were walking along Riverwalk, and yeah, you've seen a little bit more of Shayna on this video. That's because a lot of you have requested that you see more of Shayna. So I'm going to step out a little bit more and let her jump in and do what she needs to do. But we still have the Kling connection, and I'm still here. We're going to eat some lunch and then continue touring the city.
The trolley took us here to this area called the Riverwalk area, or like the river walk area, I guess. It's the Riverwalk area. And so we're going to walk down here, and there's some shopping and some restaurants. We might get a bite to eat or just see what we can find. River Street Marketplace. We're going to stop in and see. Looks like there's some shopping and some cool little places to check out. This is my kind of place. This is a little blurb about the Liberty. The armed schooner Liberty, the first American naval vessel officially commissioned early in July of 1775 by provincial Congress, sailed from this port. She was commanded by Oliver Bowen and Joseph Habersham and carried 10 carriage guns and 50 men. She flew the Liberty flag, a white banner with a red border, and the motto American Liberty imprinted on the field in large red letters. The Liberty made the first ordered capture in southern waters of the Revolution. 1775. This is one of Savannah's famous statues. It's called the Waving Girl, Savannah's Waving Girl. It's a statue of Florence Martis, born 1869, passed 1943. I'll have to do a little more investigating. But it's famous here along the Riverwalk.
It hit the water table, and we're dealing with sand which collapses in on itself unless you line it with stone or brick or something. So up in Massachusetts, but prior to that, their family is from Rhode Island, and they were from a family of carpenters in Rhode Island. And after Samuel and Isaiah finished their apprenticeship in Massachusetts, they got here. So the front also would have been solid. This is kind of a more recent improvement, so that
A lot of these cooking utensils are really neat. I think they're original to the building. This house was built in like the 1790s.
So Queen Victoria adopted the Christmas tree in the 1840s in England, and of course we're very closely associated with England, and we learn about everything going on in the UK, and that's how we as Americans found out about the Christmas tree. But anyway, Anna Clark, and that is Sarah's mother. Right? So Susanna lives down the street here.
Tomorrow.
We just woke up on our second morning here in Savannah, and little did we know, we got so lucky. Yesterday, we took the trolley ride, and our trolley driver explained to us that there was going to be this beautiful farmers market in Forsyth Park. And the place that we got to stay in is only 2 blocks from Forsyth Park. And so we showed up here this morning and look at this beautiful farmers market that we're going to walk around a little bit and check out. It's a little chilly, but the sun is going to start shining, and we're going to have a beautiful afternoon to walk around and see what we can find here in Forsyth Park in Savannah, Georgia. If you know me, this is my idea of a perfect Saturday. Walking around the farmers market, watching the kids play soccer, enjoying some sunshine. I could spend hours here enjoying some people. Everyone's out and about. I love it. This is my idea of a perfect Saturday. We're here for a couple days. And tell us a little bit about the farmers market. Have you been here a couple years? Or
I've been here almost 3 years now. This is Forsyth Park Farmers Market here at Forsyth Park in Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah.
And this is if you come to the city, I mean, there's almost 100 vendors this side of the monument and the other side, arts and crafts on the other side, food and snacks on this side. Some of them are brick and mortar places, and they sell here on the weekend because there's so many tourists here.
Yeah.
An orange grove here in Savannah, which is a novelty in itself. But during the off season, we sell, we take the fruit at the end of the year, slice it up, have it dehydrated here in town, and we sell it cocktail infusion kits.
Awesome.
And the cocktail infusion kits are very popular. This is the fruit that we grow right here in Savannah.
Oh, this is wonderful. We're so
Forsyth
excited.
Farmers Market is a great place to come visit.
We found out about it from our trolley driver yesterday. When we were on the trolley, she said, you've got to come out to Forsyth Park and find it and come to the farmers market.
They're so much fun. You get the little sticker, the on-off sticker. So you get off anywhere and then you get back on.
It's wonderful.
And it makes a loop right here at the edge of the market, at the edge of the park, so that you can come visit Forsyth and then go up and down here for a couple of hours, get you a cup of coffee down at Tusk, you know.
Yeah.
And just so you can say you did.
Yeah.
And we'll see you in YouTube land.
Thank
Take
you
care.
so much.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Beautiful. When I walked by, I thought they were real. Oh my gosh. What amazing, beautiful work. The trolley driver told us yesterday that the city of Savannah bought this fountain out of the Sears catalog for about $2,500. Like I said, I forget the year it was, but that's how there were only a certain number of them made. And this one, and there's another one that's still in working order, but $2,500 is what the city spent on this fountain, and it's still working. And I think it's beautiful.
Unlike many American cities that grew organically, Savannah was meticulously planned by General James Oglethorpe in 1733. He envisioned a grid-like layout with 22 squares, each surrounded by residential buildings, creating a unique and aesthetically pleasing urban environment, which it really has. As you can see, Savannah is full of history, all sorts of monuments and historical houses. And what's even a little bit more historical is people talk really loud here.
preservation into this historical home is amazing. This fence is copied off of the one that is at Buckingham Palace. Now, this person that owns this is probably the richest person in Savannah, but nobody knows really how much he's worth, but it's worth a lot.
One of the other things we found out about Savannah is that the Savannah College of Art and Design owns a lot of the buildings, and they've really kept the history of the buildings, and they've renovated them a little bit. But the students here in the college are here at the farmers market, and they have a lot of their art and designs on display. They're beautiful, but just a little bit more. It's called SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design. And if you're in Savannah, you'll notice that a lot of the buildings are owned by SCAD, and they have their own bus line and stuff. But they really help keep the integrity of the city and the buildings renovated and things like that. So they really take pride in having SCAD part of the city, and so a lot of the students are here in the farmers market. So pretty neat.
This about closes our walk around Savannah, and we got to see lots of cool things. There's so much that we can't even put it on video. It's definitely worth the trip to come out here and check stuff out.
Savannah is a beautiful, beautiful city. There's a lot of history, a lot of modernization, and there's so much to see and do. You've got to come check it out for sure. We loved it here. I mean, it could be one of our top 3 places to come, maybe stay a little bit longer, or maybe come back again.
Yeah, well, if you're a history lover like me, you'll definitely love it. If you're a shopper, you'll definitely like it. But Savannah, nice city, really clean, especially in the touristy parts. We didn't explore the whole city, but the touristy parts we did, and it was really, really nice. And
very walkable.
Very walkable. Just a tip: bring yourself a pair of comfortable walking shoes, and maybe not come at the time of year that we're coming, because it does get a little cold. But other than that, it's not too bad.
Enjoy it. It's beautiful.
So make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the Kling Connection, and click that notification bell so you never miss another episode.
Until next time.
Are you tired of business coaches who promise the moon but deliver, well, nothing? Then it's time to meet Sean Kling. He's not here to tell you what you want to hear. He's here to tell you what you need to hear. With decades of real-world experience under his belt, Sean cuts through the noise and delivers sharp-witted insights that get results. He's built for leaders who are serious about scaling and dominating their industry. Stop settling for sugar-coated advice. It's time for the straight truth that fuels success. Work with Sean Kling. Visit SeanKling.com to book your power call, coaching session, or explore partnership opportunities today. Outwork them all. Outthink, outsmart, outlast.
In last week's video, we toured the scenic streets of Savannah, Georgia, catching a glimpse into its historic atmosphere, going to the flea market, and seeing some really cool old homes, as well as a lot of monuments. This week, we're going down about 17 miles down the river to Fort Pulaski, a fort built after the War of 1812 that served the United States all the way through the American Civil War. Join us as we explore the caves and caverns and the gun traverses of this historic fort. Now, on to Fort Pulaski.
Hey, Kling Connection followers. Today we're in Fort Pulaski, Savannah, Georgia, the site of a historic Civil War battle, but also much, much more. Shayna and I are going to explore the site, check out the surroundings, and see what's going on. Come join us in this adventure.
Fort Pulaski was named after Count Casimir Pulaski, a Polish hero of the American Revolution. Construction began in 1829 and took about 18 years to complete, and the fort was built on Cockspur Island, which was mainly marsh.
Now, entering Fort Pulaski, we're crossing a drawbridge. Now, obviously, this drawbridge has been replaced. It doesn't seem that old, but there's a moat that goes around it, kind of like a medieval fort. And you have the drawbridge here that would probably be removed up or at least closed in part as part of the second defensive lines. You also have different mounds and things like that inside here. So we're going to have to check out what those mounds are and you check out what's inside the fort here. But this is, so far, it's a very, very well kept and preserved park and is really in pristine shape.
As we're walking here through the Pulaski Fort, I just noticed the walls here that you can see made with shells, the oyster shells here. So that's what they had available, you know. You see them all pushed together and made this tight fit, strong.
The fort was built using approximately 13 million bricks, many of which came from the city of Savannah and were made locally. The fort's walls were 11 feet thick and were thought to be impregnable at the time. The fort's moat was 7 feet deep, and the fort's parade ground was over 2 acres in size.
Now, these deluge were used after the Civil War. During the Civil War, this was all flat here, according to the signs. But these would have stored ammunition, prisoners, medical personnel, food, supplies, you name it, would have been put here in protection of a bombardment or an.
This doorway looks ominous, so I'm going to go see what's inside.
Construction cost to the United States government to build the fort were around $1 million in 1829 till about 1847. A young second lieutenant, Robert E. Lee, was in charge of the substances and other planning during the early construction. And construction was done not only by slave labor, but also skilled labor from around the country and government contractors.
I can see more of those shells on the ceiling.
Now, behind me, this would be like the parade ground, the drilling ground, where they would practice marching, loading of cannons, weapons and accoutrement training, all sorts of stuff going on. And this would also probably been a main portion of, just daily activities out front here. But if you notice here, the bushes are pretty high. So some private probably didn't do his job and didn't mow the grass about 150 years ago, and now it's nothing but a big bush.
So this room has the cisterns that they use to filter the water that they would use to drink, because the Fort Pulaski is surrounded by salt water and fresh water. They needed a way to filter, so they used a filtration system, and this room was used for the filtration system. So they built, the water would run through different filtrations like soil, rock, some of the oyster shells that we did see, and would help them with their drinking water, so that they would have clean water to drink for the soldiers that lived here.
Designed by French military engineer Simon Bernard, the fort was part of the third system of coastal fortifications, which were more durable than early forts that were set up after the War of 1812.
Now, at the start of the Civil War, a lot of these southern forts were taken over by Southern militia units or early Confederate armies, but they weren't able to hold them a lot. And this is a great example. During the early part of the Civil War, Fort Pulaski fell to the Confederacy. However, about 5 months into the war, they wound up surrendering to Quincy Gilmore, who was a U.S. Army general, into this room. Colonel Olmsted, who commanded the fort, surrendered here into this room.
We ain't Secesh here. That man is a civilian. That man is Secesh, and Secesh is all the same, son.
At the start of the American Civil War, Fort Pulaski was claimed by the state of Georgia. After the outbreak of the war, Confederate troops operated in and out of Fort Pulaski from January 1861 till about April 1862. The only battle at Fort Pulaski occurred on April 10th and April 11th, 1862, between Union forces on Tybee Island and Confederate troops inside the fort. Union troops occupied Fort Pulaski in April 1862 and held it till the end of the war.
This is the dark confinement where the Confederate soldiers were held prisoner. You can see the door here.
The cemetery at the fort serves as a final resting place for a diverse group of individuals, including workers, families, and soldiers. Following the Civil War, the U.S. Army relocated the remains of Union soldiers to Beaufort National Cemetery in South Carolina. However, the bodies of Confederate soldiers remained at Fort Pulaski. Notably, there are 13 unmarked graves that hold the remains of Confederate officers known as the Immortal 600. These officers were imprisoned at Fort Pulaski from 1864 to 1865. Two tombstones are still visible today. One belongs to Charles Howard Selmer, the infant son of Lieutenant Charles Selmer and Marion Selmer, who was stationed at the fort in 1872. The other tombstone marks the grave of Lieutenant Robert Rowan, an officer who served at Fort Greene, the predecessor of Fort Pulaski. This tomb was relocated to the original site of Fort Greene to its current location sometime after Rowan's death in 1800, but before the Civil War.
So during the last couple months of the Civil War, this is where the Confederate soldiers were kept in prison. You can see the prison doors here and the bunk beds where they slept. I found this so interesting. So the blast from the cannons when they had fired them actually took like the plaster off of the brick walls here. You could see it actually, like the cannon would shoot and then the blast would take the plaster right off the wall. And you can look down here and see as the other cannons had gone, there's you can actually see from this angle how the plaster just comes right off the wall from those blasts. It's really just dramatic effect there, you can tell. This will be an example of the heavy artillery that I was just giving an example of. So you can see how this would be pretty hard to maneuver and aim unless you had something that you would pivot it on. And that way, you know, you could aim particularly well. And you would use that on the ground to move around. So it would leave an imprint. As you can see, this is a very large piece of equipment, and so that's how it works. So Sean explained that to me, and now it makes much more sense. Thank you, Sean.
Now, Savannah was a Confederate stronghold until Sherman takes it over at the end of the war. So the troops at Fort Pulaski, they just couldn't get out of the fort to go anywhere. So one of the most famous pictures of all time took place here that included something that would become our national pastime. The New York regiment that was stationed here started playing baseball. One of the most famous pictures in the Civil War of a baseball game being played was right here at Fort Pulaski on the parade grounds where I'm standing now.
So these little openings here in the fort wall are the rifle slots. And those are for pointing near the drawbridge when people are actually coming in towards the fort. So they're smaller than the cannons, but actually to shoot towards the people as they're coming over the drawbridge. So if you come a little bit closer, you can look out and see that you are pointing towards the front of the fort. And that way you're not pointing out towards the backside. A little bit different. I learned that today. Sean has a lot of good information.
As you can see here, this is the opening of the river, and the guns are manned here to face off any naval forces or amphibious assaults that would have tried to come up to the fort. And we're on the top tier of the fort, which would have had just as many cannons as the first level. Good. Well, we just wrapped up our tour of Fort Pulaski National Monument here in Savannah, Georgia, and we had a great time.
It is full of history. If you have any interest in American history and the Civil War era, come here and check it out. There's so much to see and do, and the Rangers have a ton of information if you have questions. They were amazing.
And don't forget to share, like, and subscribe to the channel, and click that notification bell so you never miss another Kling Connection episode.
We love you guys. Thanks for watching. Till next time.
Last week, we toured historic Fort Pulaski, about 17 miles south of the city of Savannah, the site of many Civil War battles and a lot of other tales. This week, we return back to Savannah for a ghostly night tour to check out the haunts of pirates, Civil War soldiers, and people that lived here throughout history. We'll check out the ghost tours and maybe even see a ghost or two. Follow us along. Now, on to the ghost tour.
Hey, Kling Connection, welcome to Savannah at night. We are ready to get on the ghost tour tonight. We're going to check out some scenes around the town. They're going to tell us a little bit about how the ghosts came to be in Savannah. And then we're going to stop and have some dinner, which is included on the tour, which is awesome. It's a small tour. It's only 8 of us, so we'll get a little bit of the intimate of the evening. And we're excited to see what ghosts and goblins may be lurking around Savannah. And we'll get to tell you all about it.
I've only been with the company for a couple of weeks. But I gotta tell you, these things are real. Since I joined these men, I have seen that'll turn you white.
To the district, I'm going to give you a very, very, very brief little history lesson about how Savannah was set up so that you understand how Savannah became known as one of the most haunted cities. Okay? So are we ready to get started? Yeah. Oh, and yes, I will be your driver and guide tonight. Okay? Finally, this is the most important. While we're going through the district, while we're moving, please, please, please don't stand up in the seats or stand up in the aisles while we're moving. You'll be really surprised how many people want to play chicken with a trolley. And I may have to come to a sudden stop. And I wouldn't want you to get hurt because you were standing in the aisle.
The Marshall House is Savannah's oldest continuing operating hotel. It opened in 1851. During the Civil War, the hotel itself was transformed into a Union Army hospital. And there's been stories ever since. Perhaps the most well-known legend involves a ghost of a Confederate soldier who died in a hospital. Guests and staff have reported sightings of shadowy figures and disembodied voices and unexpected temperature drops. Others reported paranormal activity, including flickering lights and objects moving on their own.
And he lost everything in a hurricane. He did odd jobs around the Foley house for his room and board.
You definitely heard about a book called Midnight, the God and the Good and Evil. Well, I'm going to let y'all in on a little secret. That old book is about Maya.
I have no idea who did this. One moment I'm sitting in my chair knitting a scarf for one of my girls when suddenly a blow comes to the back of my head. What kind of person does such a thing?
One of the most well-known haunted houses in Savannah is the Sorrel Weed House. Now, the house was built in around 1830 for Francis Sorrel by a wealthy businessman. Francis Sorrel's first wife died of yellow fever, and he later married her sister, Matilda. The most famous story involves Matilda Sorrel. Legend has it she discovered her husband's affair with a slave named Molly. Overcome with grief and despair, Matilda tragically fell or jumped from the third-story balcony to her death. The house is said to be haunted by the ghost of Matilda, as well as other spirits, including Molly and possibly soldiers who died there during the siege of Savannah.
I couldn't have an ordinary ghost on my hands. I got a rummy. A big, ugly, booze-soaked rummy. Hold on there.
We did learn that in Savannah is where Walt Disney got his idea for the Haunted Mansion. You can actually see the house that he used as a model for the theme park in Orlando. And today, it's even kind of resembled and named after the house in Savannah. At the end of the tour, we went to the Pirate House, another known haunted area, for dinner. We sat with a great couple from Las Vegas, Nevada, a mother and a daughter, as well as a husband and wife from Nashville, Tennessee, and she was a traveling nurse.
So we made it to the Pirate House. We're getting ready to have some dinner. We have a menu here. So we're going to eat a little something and then continue on the tour. So far, it's been wonderful. Have a little bit of shivers going through the tour, but it's been really fun. So we're having a good time.
The meal was great, and afterwards we went down into the basement to check out the ghostly apparitions that have been reported there.
Now, it was a known pirate tavern and inn for well over 100 years. Now, that's important because in 1870, a gentleman ended up staying here towards the last days of the inn, and he was in one of the rooms upstairs. Now, he became fascinated with the stories surrounding the inn and the tavern, so much so that he started jotting down notes of some of the stories that he heard. Upon jotting these down, he got an idea. How about if I make it into a novel? In 1952, this building got saved from demolition by a woman by the last name of Hilliard. Her picture's right up on the wall back here. But she had not only saved this building, she had saved 3 other buildings. One of them being the oldest standing residential home in Georgia.
So we're down here in the rum cellar underneath the Pirate's House, and we're going to continue on with the ghost tours. We're going to learn a little bit more about what happened here. Don't get scared. I'm going to point out real quick down here in the rum cellar below the Pirate House. This area right here, this is called the Savannah Gray Stone. And the reason that it's important is that it's not a lot of it left here in the city, but it's the original gray stone that was made by hand from the enslaved people that lived here back in the 1700s. So they would swim to the bottom of the Savannah River, and they would bring up the clay and actually
That's a little bit more
build the brick like by hand.
I mean, it's still
and if you look at some of the brick that is still around the city, you can see the handprints and the fingerprints from the brick that was actually laid and made by hand. So it's famous. Savannah Gray brick is what it's called. You can't find a lot of it around the city. Here it is. And I haven't found any handprints yet, but there are places that you can see. But some of the other brick around the city is like the red regular brick that you see. This is the Savannah Gray brick. So I think it's pretty cool.
So
all in all, the trip was kind of fun, and if you enjoy that kind of thing, it's really worth your time. Remember, it's mostly for humor, and even though we didn't really see any ghosts, we were kind of shocked at some of the things we did see around the city and some of the stories that we heard.
So somebody must have been really good designing them. Those people like that.
Maybe.